Today I'm going to demonstrate how to make a pair of warm, cozy, fingerless gloves using a circular knitting machine. For this project, I'm using Loops and Threads Impeccable yarn in the color Sea Green. I'm using the Sentro 48 needle knitting machine, but this would work on any hat-sized circular knitting machine. All the supplies I'm using today will be linked in the description below. And please remember to subscribe to the channel for daily knitting tutorials and videos. To cast on, roll your machine until you find your last needle, which on my machine is white. Set your counter back to 0. Using your scrap yarn, put a loop around the last needle and then begin weaving the yarn behind and in front of each needle as you rotate the knob to turn the loom. Alternate every other needle, behind, in front, until you get back to the original stitch where you began. Next, secure your scrap yarn into the tensioner and choose the middle tension. Now you're ready to knit. Turn the knob and knit 5 rows in the scrap yarn. Next, grab your main color. Pull a decently long tail, I usually go with a couple of feet just to be on the safe side, and throw it in the middle of the machine. Then, insert the yarn into the tensioner using the middle tension. Hold the tails of the 2 yarns together, keeping them close together and low. Reset your counter back to 0. Go very slowly with the first few stitches because this is a really common place for stitches to be dropped. You want to make sure the machine is catching all the stitches. Now you're ready to knit the glove. Knit 50 rows in your main color. When you finish your 50 rows, cut a long tail from the main color and put it in the center of the machine. Switch back to the scrap yarn to finish up the project. Hold the tails of the yarn close together and go slowly as you switch to the scrap yarn. Knit 5 rows in the scrap yarn. When you finish up your 5 rows, cut the scrap yarn, leaving the tail in the middle, and turn your knob as if to knit a few rows. After a few rows, the work will fall off the needles. You might need to manually pull off the work from the last 1 or 2 needles. Once your work is off the machine, pull the work apart and stretch it out fully. On the left, you'll see our completed glove, and on the right, we still need to seam and assemble our right glove. We'll be seaming the top of the tube and the bottom. To do this, I'll be using a crochet hook and a darning needle. Hold up your work and fold it together. Leave the 2 tails from the main color and the scrap yarn out and on the left side. We'll begin at the right-hand side of the work. First, identify the row that you want to seam, which is the very top single row of the main color. Start by using your crochet hook to go through the very first loop on the right side. Next, go through the next top loop and pull it through the first. Do the same with the next bottom loop, continuing to crochet the next top loop followed by the next bottom loop. Continue in this manner all the way to the end of the row. Our seam is almost complete. Use your crochet hook to pull the tail through and tie a knot. Next, now that our stitches are secured, we need to pull out the scrap yarn. Usually one side will be really easy to do and the other side will be more challenging. If anyone watching has any good tips or tricks for removing the stubborn scrap yarn, please leave your suggestions in the comments below because I'd love to know if there's an easier way. Our seam is now complete. Next, flip to the other side of the work and do the exact same process on the other side. Your second glove is now fully seamed and ready to be sewn up. For reference, the length of my glove, unfolded, is about 9.5 inches long and 7 inches wide. When it's folded, it's about 4 inches wide, and the material is very stretchy. The fingerless gloves are assembled by sewing up the sides, but skipping a couple of inches where your thumb will go. You can decide where you want to place the thumb hole depending on your own hands or how high over your fingers you want the gloves to sit. For mine, I started the thumb hole at around 6 inches from the bottom of the glove. The thumb hole is about 2 inches long, leaving another 2 inches for the front of the glove. Next, fold your glove in half and thread the long tail onto a darning needle. We're going to use the mattress stitch to seam up the sides of the glove. The first step is to identify the row that you want to stitch. Locate the first 2 sets of V-shaped stitches. You'll want to pick up the bar that sits in between these stitches on the left side, and then picking up the same stitch on the right side of the work. I'm using a knitting needle to show you where the bar is a little bit closer up. Start by going through 1 stitch on the left-hand side, pulling the yarn through, and then grabbing the corresponding stitch on the right side and pulling the yarn through again. Continue to make sure that your work is lined up properly. Continue the mattress stitch for 6 inches or until the area where you want to place your thumb hole. Once you reach 6 inches, begin thinking about starting your thumb hole. If the gloves are for yourself, this is a good time to try on the glove and see where you'd want your thumb hole to fit. We're going to sew the yarn into only one side of the glove for about 2 inches. Look for the bar between the stitches and sew your yarn over and under the stitches for about 2 inches. When you're ready to begin sewing again, tie a quick knot to secure the opening. Continue in the mattress stitch until the end of the glove. Then tie a few knots to make sure it's secure, and then weave in your ends. Weaving in your ends in work created on a circular knitting machine is really easy because you just need to pull apart the tube a little and you can hide the ends right on the inside of the tube. Next, I like to add a knitting tag to all my work. If you're interested in ordering these knitting tags, I'll link below in the description to the shop where I ordered these. Our fingerless gloves are now complete. They're cozy and I love how they turned out. If you found this video helpful, please give the video a like, comment below, and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with daily knitting tutorials, patterns, and content. If you make the project, I'd love to see your work. Find me on Instagram at Diana Levine Knits. If you enjoyed this video, please check out some of my other tutorials linked here.